Hello there and welcome back. Today we talk about the beautiful Intellijel Cascadia. Recently I got this semi-modular system. It's the first Intellijel full synthesizer, and I have to say it's one of those instruments that really fall exactly in my place. I love how it works, I love how straightforward can it be, and also how in depth you can go with the sound design, with all of its patching capabilities. And so in this video I will talk about what is the advantage of getting a semi-modular system. There's many in the market. I think this is one of the best, and I'll tell you why. Also the disadvantage of that, so why you would go with a eurorack system, or why you should completely avoid and just get plugins or VST or whatever. That said, let me say the few ways you can support this page. Really appreciate and really helpful for me to keep going on this journey. So first, you can hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. You can buy from the affiliate link. Whatever you will buy after you click the link, and be sure to have the cookies allowed, otherwise it won't work. Whatever you would buy, I will get a tiny percentage, you will pay exactly the same. And then the third best way would be to become a patron. On Patreon I do one-on-one, I reply to all of your questions, and there's tons and tons of exclusive videos. Also, if you want to see more patching of the Cascadia, you will find it there. That said, let's go back to the setup here. So this was the intro was all sequenced by the T1, 2 track actually, for one channel of the Cascadia, VCOA, and another channel for the bass. The Cascadia goes out in 2 separate ways. So this is a monophonic synth and it has a mono output. So the mono output goes inside the LVX and into the Franklin SS6, and then the bass through the VCAB goes directly inside my sound card. So yeah, you hear good. It's a monophonic synth, but with recent firmware you can use it as a dual mono, completely dual mono, meaning that you can have 2 complete voices, which is something that not a lot of semi-modular synth does. And this is the first point that make the Cascadia unique. Through some very simple patching, you can have 2 independent voices, 2 independent synth, each one with its own VCO, VCA, and filter. So what was happening here, and let's play it a little. So what you hear now, it's the bass. And the bass, it's simply channel to MIDI, goes inside the Cascadia through the MIDI, and through a setting you can do, you can have these 2 output here, sending out the MIDI note and MIDI gate. So I go into the VCO B, then into the envelope B, and into the VCA B, and I have a complete voice. With this knob, I can make the VCO B working as a low-pass gate, basically. And as I can hear, I have control on the IDSR and the filtering. But I also have the other one. And this is the main line, which is VCO-A into the mixer, into the envelope, into the VC filter here. And then its own VCA here. What I also do that is very cool, I send the signal through this FX send and return, which is a great utility. What it does, it matches the impedance of this output to the impedance of a line effect processor or a pedal. In this case, the Meris LVX. And then I come back. So what is great is that I can use it as a send and return. And here I can decide the mix rate. Not only that, the cool part here is like there's an expression level knob here. As you can see here, there's an expression out that goes inside my pedal, and with that, I can control anything. In this case, I control this glitch repeat in the LVX, as you can hear, and is controlled by this LFO. Super fun. So, again, this is require a little patching to make, but as you can hear, you have two independent voices, and you can do whatever you want. But you might ask how hard it is to operate. Let's do this. Let's unpatch everything and let's do a patch from scratch. In this way, I will be able also to talk about all the building block of the Cascadia. So for this, let's use the Oxy. It's gonna be faster for me to use the Oxy. Let's pick an empty pattern. So by now, the channel 1 MIDI will control the MIDI pitch, MIDI velocity, and gate of the VCO-A. There's a lot of MIDI normalization already in the Cascadia, and it's great because we can play and we can create sound without patching anything. So let's try. So let's put a scale, let's place some random note. As you can hear, everything works already. Simple, right? Why that? As you can see, the synth is labeled in very smart way. On top of each slider or entry point, patch point, there might be a black box with a name. That means that on that precise patch point, something is normal. So let's just see what happens if you send a MIDI input to the Cascadia. As you can see, here you have external in, meaning I could send the CV out from the Oxy inside here, but if you don't patch anything, on pitch, you have the MIDI pitch, already normaled in. On gate, you have the MIDI gate, and then MIDI trig, if you have trigs, and in this other part here, which is the MIDI to CV module, you will have something already patched like the MIDI velocity, the MIDI pitch. Again, it's reproposed here. So now on channel 1, and you set the MIDI channel through some patching here or through using the app, everything works already. The cool things here is like not only that, but then the signal go into different part of the things. First, it goes through the VCO-A, so you have here the pitch. As you can see, the pitch here, external pitch. So without patching anything, he listened already to that. That means though you can definitely interrupt the normalization and send other stuff to it. But if nothing is patched, everything's working, which is great. Then the signal go into the envelope. And in the envelope, again, you listen to the external trig. So now I can design my envelope. And then from the envelope, we go into the mixer. It's already normal with the signal coming in. Then we go into the filter. I don't know if this is the order, but you know what I'm saying. And then you go into the VCA. The VCA has this mod slider that is normal to the envelope. So as soon as you bring that up, the VCA output the envelope. And then we go into the this here, that is the VCA output, VCA 8 output, that is normal to the output of the machine. So that's it. You have your full voice going on without any patching. You might say, okay, this is not as fun, but we will go there, we will create something from scratch. So let's talk a little about the sound and what the Cascadia offer. You have two VCO. The VCO-A, it's very similar actually to the Atlantis one. So if you ever use that, you will feel like riding a bike. You have the VCO-A, it goes into the mixer, so you have a sawtooth, a square, a sine, a sub, and a noise. And also, new, that you don't have in the Atlantis, you have a wave folder. And the wave folder is here. So this wave folder listen normal to the sine, and you can bring it in here, in the VCA. And then, of course, it follows the envelope. On the VCO, you have the tune, the octave, whatever. Let's make it more interesting. You can decide the octave, you can decide the different modulation. You have two frequency modulation. This one you need to patch something. This other one, it's normal to the envelope A and a VCO B, so you have already something interesting going on. Then you have the pulse width modulation. All of this is already patched for you, but you can interrupt and do whatever you want. We will do that in a second. Let's go through all the other part. The filter allows you to have a lot of way to shape. You have 3 low pass with different poles, 1, 2, and 4 poles. Then you have band pass, I think 2 band pass, 2 pole, and 4 poles. Then high pass, and then notch and a phaser. All very interesting. You have a level to control the level of the signal going through the filter. You have many points here to adjust the level. One being here in the VCA, one being here at the dry section, and then the level out. Also, you have another very good things that not a lot of, it's not that easy to patch in a modular system, which is the sensitivity to velocity, which is patched here, and you can decide the velocity to control the level or the length of your envelope. So let's talk about now the envelope. The envelope is a classic ADSR, the envelope A, but it has a couple of quirks. Number one, the fact that you can select the overall length of the envelope, with being fast, very snappy, medium, and slow. These allow to have different outcomes. The other interesting thing is, like, again, you can, with MIDI-CC, decide the velocity of the note. How you do that? It's patched already for you. So let's say I go in the Oxy, in the velocity tab here, and then I can decide to influence the level or the time. I think you have to patch something here for the time. And we can do this. And for the time, what happened is like, here it is. If you decide time, the shorter, the lower the velocity, the shorter the envelope will be, like would be with an acoustic instrument. Very interesting. Needless to say, it's not that easy to have velocity in Eurorack. You need to patch a lot of stuff and add few different VCA. So this is super cool to have. Another things, you can of course put different gate length. So through MIDI and through the control with just one cable, you understand you have already a lot of versatility. Right now, I didn't use a single cable, but things are already more expressive. Let me talk about how to make these sounds cooler. Let's use the effects. So, of course, you can go out into the effects, but what is cool here is just you have a send and return, which is MIDI-CCable, of course. So, what we can do? We can decide to send the VCA output into the effects in. Then we can break the normalization of the path, the flow. So now you don't hear anything. And we can say, let's send here the effects mix out. And now we can send and here it is. Here you see there's two main. One that would be the VCA, but you can also add another signal, which could be the bass that we will create soon. Now, we didn't talk about this cool mid-section. The mid-section is the all utilities. There's basically a lot of module in one. What I really like to do here is start using some function generated by the envelope to make the sound more interesting. So let's send the end of envelope out and we put it here in the trick of the sample and hold. Sample and hold will create basically a random waveform, right? But triggered and clocked to the envelope. So what I like to do now is sending that out to the filter. Filter have different modulation. FM1 is a unipolar. And here already, you have 3 points of modulation for the filter and 1 for the resonance. So we can also add another modulation using the LFO. Here you have 3 LFO. Basic one made by the rate, which can be clocked. And then this other one could be divided by 4 and 3, or divided by 5 and 8. So you have 3 LFO synced. And this one is normal to the moods. So let's send this one into here. Nice. We have already something more interesting. We can bring in, I like always to have a tiny bit of sine. We can bring some noise. You have 3 different possibilities for noise. Pink, white, and alternative. Alternative you can select with the app, and right now I'm using Crackle. There's many you can pick and it's very nice to have. We can add some drive. You have a soft clip function here, which soft clip your signal. So if it distorts too much, you use that and you know that your sound will be warmer but not harsh. You have a soft clip here too. I like to have it engaged, so I keep all of my distortion tamed. Every time that I can also push the DCA like that, hence not having the envelope shaking it, just to mention it. What else we have in the utility section before going to VCOB? You have a slew or envelope follower. Let's talk about the slew. Because I like to do this. I like to use it to create portamento. So now I interrupt the normalization of the pitch and I go inside the slew. And then I pitch into the slew the MIDI pitch. Now I can decide to slew it only incoming, outgoing voltage, both, or outgoing voltage. And I like this. So now I can control whenever I want some portamento glides. You could also control the glide through CV, which works way better, way better, but sadly you cannot do that with MIDI, it's a limit. I wish in a future firmware Intellijel take care of that, or maybe a way to decide when this slew happens. That would be really powerful. We have already something nice going on. What else we can go? We can use this hold. Hold is another interesting envelope A function. It can be used in two modes. One is just a function elongator, and the other one is a gate elongator. And let's gate it. Let's gate it. Oh, actually, that you cannot gate it. It's something you can use it by hand. The cool thing is, like, Intellijel put stuff that I like to control by hand in a very strategic point. So it's very easy to work with your hands, which is my favorite way. There's a lot to do here. On the VCO, I forgot you have also a soft and hard sync with VCOB. You will see that soon. So, what else we have? We have this attenuverter here, mix subverter, how they call it, which creates voltage or attenuate voltage, similar to other modules that Intellijel does. You have a mult here. You have a sum, this mix 2 source. You have an invert, so basically whatever signal you put here, then flip. Then here, one that makes a bipolar signal unipolar, and then the expression level we see before that controls the pedal. Then you have a ring modulator, which blends 2 waveforms and create a third one. No time to go there, otherwise this video will be 6 hours. And that's it. So, why don't we create another line now, so I can show what happened. So let's bring in channel 2. that is on MIDI 2. And let's put some note. Now, I put Cascadia in dual mono. So these two here listen to the MIDI note of channel 2 and gate of channel 2. We need to patch something here though, because it's not normal. So the MIDI note goes into the pitch of VCOB. The VCOB out goes, we can pick whichever waveform we want. Let's just go with sawtooth. And we go into VCA-B. Here it is. Now we can send the VCA-B into the main 2 here. And here it is. Now, one limit that you have, it's the output of the Cascadia is mono. Of course, I wish it would have had a mix here so I could send this separately, but you of course can do with other modules or just like I was doing before, sending the out direct to my sound card. So you would say, I want to create an envelope too. How do I do that? Simply put, you get the gate out and we go into the gate of envelope B. And now envelope B, as you can see, it's outputting an envelope. Let's use that. We go inside here. And here you have your envelope. And envelope B, actually, it's a very complex envelope. It can work as an envelope, as an LFO, and as a burst. That to come in another video. The cool part of envelope B is that it's modulable, which envelope up cannot be. So you can modulate the rise and fall and shape. Rise, fall and shape basically will create your ADSR. And that's it. Now you can as you can hear, now you create very fast 2 different lines, all independent. And so on and on. Of course, we did this very randomly and very fast. And that's about it. I think I give you an idea of how this small but very usable is very well laid out. The interface is so good to use. It has a lot of power, a lot of patching possibility. And let's talk about the last thing, and let me bring my list. And like, what are the pros and cons of a system like that? So first, I read, so I put down some ideas, and please, in the comment down below, let me know what you think about semi-modular. But first, pro. The stuff like that, instrument like that, are thought by a designer. This, of course, is pro and cons. But the pro is that everything here works in synergy. Every part of it works in a specific way that is thought to be an organism somehow. The other only one semi-modular system that I know that is as deep is maybe the Buchla easel command. It's similar in a way that has 2 voices. They are not really independent as this could be, and these offer way more utilities. And I am more a West Coast guy, no, East Coast guy, so I like more the sound of this. Buchla is always a instrument that is inspiring but hard for me to use. But yeah, a designer makes something like this and it will work perfectly. Everything is patched normal in a super smart way. So, yeah, it's very convenient to use, sounds very good, and, you know, foolproof in a way. Then, as I said, another pro is that it's easy to operate. Everything, as you see, without any patching was working. That doesn't happen in many other semi-modular. Most of the time you have to do some patching. Here, with MIDI, you are good to go out of the box, which is great. Then, it's cheaper than the sum of the parts. If you would start collecting all the modules that are inside this box, you will end up spending a lot of money, way more than this thing costs. And this is not cheap, don't get me wrong. But it can be used with your modular system because you have tons of patching points, and it offers small module. Each one would cost $200, $300, and on, and then you will end up to build a system exactly like that, probably in the range of the $4,000. Then, also, if you're interested in modular, getting into that with a semi-modular, to me, is the best way. My gate opener was the Moog Mother 32. It helped me a lot to understand how modular works, and I had something well thought that works. This would be the same. If you would go with single module, well, have somebody that teach you or is along with you along the way, because otherwise you might buy, like I did, a lot of stuff that in the end you won't use because it would be too complex, or you didn't well thought what could go well with what you would need actually. The last point that I think it's really important is, like with something like this, you do more music and less patching. With some other modules that I had, I spent days trying to figure it out and doing zero music. I have this since a week or so, and I already recorded a lot of stuff, and I love it. I love it. The cons, let's talk about that, to be honest too. So you have, of course, less space to customization. This is done. There's nothing you can add or remove. Yes, you have everything you need, yeah, but then you might want another module that do that, another, blah, 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 and then you need to have a side one. I have my small palette system, and with that, it's really fun to use, for example, Metropolix with it, and C-Leg. So it might need some more customization, and if that's what you're looking for, a very unique sounding, maybe then it's not for you. Maybe you want to build your entire chain by yourself. Then the sound is influenced by a designer. That's what I was saying before. When we buy these, or whatever instrument, there's a designer behind it, and he thought the sound flow, the signal flow. So sometimes I think about it, like I'm using a Moog, and some guy, Moog, decided the sound before, so it's like playing a guitar. Somebody built that guitar. So you play Fender has a specific sound, Intellijel has a specific sound, Verbos has a specific sound, Buchla has a specific sound. So it can be a sort of a false problem, because everything that we use has been designed by somebody else, hence we are following ideas somebody else. Nobody's really very little people are able to build their own circuit and their own model from scratch. So you always compromise uniqueness because somebody else creates stuff for you. So yeah, false problem to me. And then, yes, I said this costs less than the sum of the parts, but if you build a very, very simple system, there's cheaper way to get into this little by little and save money. One could be also being into VCV rack and build there, because by now you have all the possibility. I don't like using modular in the computer, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Better than, I think, Bitwig, because it has a lot of modular capabilities. I like to have the explosion of all the control in front of you. Then, another few thoughts. What is the pro of having this kind of stuff over a desktop synth, over like a Udio or a Moog or whatever other desktop synth? One pro is the fact that you will learn deeply the signal flow. For the first time, when I got this kind of stuff, I started learning how the singular parts works in synergy together. And that is something that later on in your journey as a synth nerd, as a sound designer, will be really invaluable. Having all the parts separate and all the patch points separate, but also normal, it's really good because you can decide to be as deep as you want and using the time that you want to learn. Then, again, you have more control rather than a desktop synthesizer. There, a designer really made all the choice for you. All the patching is made for you. In this case, you have way more control because you can interrupt all the signal flow and decide to make changes, so it gives you a way more powerful way to create your own sound design. What are the cons? Of course, here you don't have patch storage. Every time you do something and you unpatch, it's gone forever, which is beautiful, but also daunting. It can be more expensive because by now you can buy extremely good synth for a quarter of the price of this guy, and even less. And then, of course, if you go to the Prime one, forget about it. And then the other problem is like this is just a mono. It's dual, yes, but the output is mono. It's a monophonic, so it's limited in that range. Doesn't bother me too much because I like mono voices. But of course, if you want a polysynth, it's still not the realm of eurorack to me. Whatever it's polyphonic in eurorack, it's always a compromise, and I don't like it. If you want pads and stuff, just get a Juno stuff, a boutique, a Roland boutique, or a Udio, and you will be better off. Okay, so I think I said everything. There's gonna be more video about this and more patching and more ideas coming up later on. Let me thank Intellijel for supporting my channel. I told them many times, but Intellijel to me is my brand of heart in eurorack. I really love what they do. I invested in them a lot. In fact, also my other modular system is filled with Intellijel stuff, and it's just big to me, just make me feel happy when I'm using it. Also, I like their design, and you know, they're made by robots in Canada, so it's good. All right, that's about it. Lot of stuff. I hope this was interesting and shed some light on semi-modular synth, and I'll see you next week.